you talked about pride of island of ingenuity, and the question has been asked is that how do we drive this brand globally, Jehan?
Absolutely. So we've had this was developed with a lot of input from SLASSCOM with EDB. Unfortunately, the promotional budgets that were required never came through. As a result, the planned marketing activities were very limited, what was actually implemented. So from a SLASSCOM angle, we are doing what we can with the budgets available. We are looking at a social media promotion. Now we are working with a range of partners to get the word out. So we are looking at outward missions. We recently had one to GITEX, before that to Dubai. I will be doing a session in London. We are working on educating all the people in the foreign missions. And we've had some great people, for instance, the High Commissioner to Philippines. She was very, very interested in our industry. Shobini Gunasekara, Her Excellency. She is now returned to Sri Lanka and taken on a new role. And her intervention, because we were able to give her the right input, and with her passion and connections, she was able to bring important FDIs into Sri Lanka, where companies actually came and set up in Sri Lanka. There's a company called Emapta, very large in Philippines. There are 3,000 people there. They wanted to have 300 people in Sri Lanka. They've come and set up here. We're doing a series of online promotions, webinars. We're working with influencers, and we've met some great people of other nationalities. Indian, for instance, there's the Indian CEOs Forum. They are sometimes more passionate about Sri Lanka than we are. Another gentleman called Leif Olsen, who is Swedish, absolutely loves Sri Lanka. I've been here many, many times. He brings people. So we are working with them. They're key influencers, people who take the brand out. The timing is right? A lot of tourists are coming in. There seems to be renewed interest in Sri Lanka. We need to strike now. We've shared our plans with the president. He's been very supportive as well. We have some great people in BOI, EDB. So we are doing the best. Of course, budgets are constrained, but all of us are ambassadors, right? And one thing I would request all of you to do on your LinkedIn profiles, on your social media, share good news about Sri Lanka. Right? If you look, follow my LinkedIn, right? All of us has a role to play in promoting the country. And unfortunately, sometimes we have this sense of humor, rather bad sense of humor, where we have jokes and things, memes about country, about something going wrong. That happens in every part of the world. So share the good news.
Good evening, good morning, and a good day from wherever you are joining. And a warm welcome to the overall orientation of the new students. And of course, a very healthy discussion and a fruitful discussion that's going to take place for the next 1 hour. And of course, a new start for all the students who are in the MSc IT programs at APIT for the October 2023 intake with Staffordshire University. So as we have many members in the platform, to start with, let me cordially invite our chairman of APIT Sri Lanka, Mr. Bandula Igodage, to warmly welcome all the students, and at the same time say hello to the audience and say probably say hi on behalf of Directorate as well. Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, Kaushali. First of all, this is the consecutive second day that you are having a orientation. We completed very successfully yesterday, the same time, with two eminent speakers or the MBA orientation. Today we are moving to MSc IT orientation with our new students. And also it's my the privilege and pleasure to welcome two guest speakers, Mr. Jehan Perinpanayagam and Fiona Knight. Jehan is, let Dr. Rohan to give the right introduction, but Jehan, you are an icon of in Sri Lanka, so therefore, a lot of prospective the candidates and the students will definitely would like to hear you. And also our course director, Fiona Knight, basically representing Staffordshire University, will be addressing. This is a great opportunity for our people, our students, Thank you very much for joining us in spite of your busy schedule. It's a great privilege to have you both of you here for the benefit of our the student fraternity. When it comes to the students, actually, you guys are not really a UG, I mean undergraduate. You are basically the professionals. So you need to know what the reality is. Is this all about? It is not the exam. It is not about the title. It is the understanding of the reality, in my view. So therefore, Jehan's expertise will certainly enhance your reality of the ground. I mean, and the practical implementation of the ground. It is not just like reading a book and passing your exam. So it is the practical implementation what APIT believing. So I mean, the great initiative done by Dr. Ranta, continuously we are bringing industry experts to enhance our students in the knowledge. So you are, I mean, you are the fresh the student panel for the MSc. You will realize that what sort of effort that APIT is going into, in addition to your academic excellence. Academic excellence passing through exam is be guaranteed. But the most important thing is to get the industry expertise into your knowledge, day-to-day practice, understanding the reality. End of the day is a consumer behavior. So everything is based on whatever the input that you are getting. This is a great initiative. We have two giants to give you right behavior, right understanding of the market. So without further ado, I mean, thank you very much for joining us once again. Please take the maximum out of these two eminent speakers and enhance your knowledge. So thank you very much. Very warmly welcome both of you again. Thanks. Over to you, Kaushali. Thank you, Ranta, as continuous job that you are doing right throughout. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Students, that is our Chairman of APIT Sri Lanka, Mr. Bandule Godage. I'm inviting all of you, when you have some time, please to come to the premises, get the opportunity to talk to all these people who are joining you online. And with that, I would like to now invite Miss Fiona Knight, our long-known friend and supporting partner from Staffordshire University, who would be the keynote speaker, who would give you some very important insights as you start your MSc journey today. Fiona, over to you.
Hi, I'm hoping that my share screen will actually work properly. I should have practiced before. I apologise if it's there. Does that do you actually see all that screen?
Yes,
very
that's
clear.
perfectly fine.
Very clear.
Okay, that's fine then. Right, so I'm Fiona Knight. I'm from Staffordshire University. The picture you can see here is our Stoke campus and some of our students at the Stoke campus wandering around. So just to give an idea of what we actually look like here and kind of the setting we have here. I've been at Staffordshire University a very long time now, possibly longer than some of you have been around, or at least since some of you have been quite young, possibly. I am what's called the link tutor for computing for Sri Lanka. That literally means that I keep an eye on what's going on there. I engage with the staff there to make sure that we kind of pass useful information from each other and how things go and how things go. I visit the campus at least once a year, and that does include either online or real kind of connection with the master's students as well, so that you can talk to me and also I can find out how things are going and how things are. So it's kind of really important to keep that communication going. I also speak to colleagues on several occasions throughout the year from APIT to kind of get a better understanding of how we can work together and how things can work together. And because I've been teaching for quite a long time, computing's changed an awful lot. The interesting thing about computing is keeping up to date and keeping up to what's happening in the kind of real world, and what's really important to do as far as computing is concerned when you're out working in industry, and how you can apply that in a practical sense, how you can make sure that works in that setting. So it's really important that we kind of keep up to date with what's going on. My own personal specialisms, these are the pet subjects that when people get talking to me, I just talk a lot about. Things like user experience, mobile development, web development, programming. I'm definitely more on the kind of software development side, but I have a huge interest in how computing fits into business and industry. I work on a load of small projects with companies, local companies in the UK, to make sure we can bring in computing into those companies as well. So I'm involved a lot with the kind of business computing and how computing can help companies work better and how they can actually make things there. So it gives me a good insight on both the undergraduate side and the master's side from the sort of things that are being taught. So kind of that's where I fit in there. It seems a long way. I thought I had to put a map indication to go how far we are away. That indicator in the middle of the UK is roughly where we are. It's a bit difficult on a small scale map to show. And it does seem we're an awful long way away. And you might kind of go, well, how can we have a lot in common when we are that far away in the world to actually do things? So, but we do have an awful lot in common to kind of the things that we've got. And I've just picked a few. There is a lot more in kind of common we've got, but we're both an island. So we both kind of have an understanding of working in an island and being in an island environment. But we've kind of both got a bigger range. We've both got indications and things that are important from other countries outside. Maybe different countries, maybe in some cases the same countries, but we have that connection with things there. We need to know about global issues. We need to know about things that happen worldwide, not just things that happen on our island. But our island is important as well. So we need to know about local things we have going on. We seem to both be passionate about technology. Whenever I've spoken to people in Sri Lanka, especially in the kind of computing industry, they're incredibly passionate about technology and how things go. And it's really good to see that we've got the same sort of passion to computing and where we can do with it and what we can do with it and how we can use it usefully, because that's really what's important. It's a tool. It's something that should help us, not something that should kind of hinder us in what we're doing. We're both kind of inspired by experts. Some of those experts are the same people. Some of those experts are different people. I can see you've got people here tonight that are experts, and you should be inspired by the people that are there. Throughout your course, you'll have aspect of people who are experts, people who are teaching you, who work out in industry as well, people who potentially will come out and do a guest lecture for you, people you'll read about in the local press, people you'll read about in the national press. These experts inspire us to thinking about technology and how computing can work. We quite often, as us specifically, return to education either after or during work. So as far as the master's program is concerned, we're coming back to it. It's not, as was said before, it's not an undergraduate program. It's something to help you expand and make you think about where you can do these things and how practically you can apply these things in a situation, quite often in a work environment. And I think quite a lot of you are in a working situation, so you can have that inspiration to go and see how this can happen. I did my master's program. I did a master's by research, but I didn't do that for a long time after I graduated. And it does take a bit to kind of switch back into doing education if you've been away from it a while. And don't be afraid that switch might be confusing at first. That's what the people at the university are there to help you, and the resources you can get to are to help you. And we do have that kind of things in common between us and you. We all care, and by this I'm talking about the staff and not just the teaching staff, but any support staff around. We all kind of care about the student experience. So don't be afraid to ask is the kind of common thing in that. You have people there that are to help, people there that will listen in the situation. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to use resources to get back into education. Don't be afraid to do those things. And kind of we care about quality as well. It's really important that whatever we're doing is kind of a quality experience. So that kind of really is important on how we do things and how we play things. There's a lot of communication, as I say, between APIT and us at staff, the people at Staffordshire University, to make sure that the quality is good, and is also make sure it's fair, so that you're getting a kind of fair and equal treatment to the students that are studying a similar thing at Staffordshire, actually at Staffordshire in Stoke. Or our DL students, in fact, our distance learning students, and again, making sure that everybody has the same sort of experience, that it's a fair and equal treatment. Everybody goes through the same processes to make sure that you're being treated right, that you're being assessed right, that the assignments are right for the level, that everything is correct, compared to other universities, not just compared to the two sites, but compared to other universities. Sorry. And kind of our modules and content are very much checked to make sure that we're okay, to make sure that what's happening out there in industry is added into it, to make sure that it's backed up by research. We have a lot of eminent researchers at the campuses to make sure that it's right to what you're doing. We've also got a load of eminent professionals, the people who are out there in the industry who are informing what we're doing, and the views of those professionals are as important as the kind of research side of things, because that's what you're going to be doing. You need to apply this out to where you've got. So professionals' views, they've been there, they've seen it, they've done it. So it's important that we also bring in their things. Whenever we're looking at content, wherever we're looking at things that are important, we bring those things in, we bring those people in, we talk to those people. I myself am a member of a local meetup that we have conversations about what's the best thing to look at. How do we look at these things? Where do we bring these things? Give us examples of how computing fits into industry, and taking those back into the classroom and into the teaching makes it more real. And I think that's what's kind of important, and what's sort of good about our Masters Awards is it is more real. It feels more as if it fits into what industry really does. And as far as your work is concerned, when you go through and do assessments throughout the year, it's really important that that's not just more marked by the people that are local to you, the fact that marking is being assessed by moderators, both inside your institution and at our side as well, and the institution's concerned. So to make sure these fits in and how it works with the setup. And we've got lots of different experts involved in that to advise us of that process. When we go about bringing in new modules, when we go about bringing in new courses, we talk to people. Part of the process is that we make sure that whatever we're doing does fit. The industry now does fit what's needed when you go out and your careers going forward, because your careers going forward need to be helped, not hindered by what we do. So it's important that it does. You've also got access to a load of online things, not just from your place, but from Staffordshire. So do make use of what you have access through the library, our library source, through other sources. Make sure you kind of engage in whatever sources of information you can get to make sure that things there. And it's important that you do have access to very similar things that our students do. So do, as I say, make access to the library, the centre here, the sort of research we have involved in here. And extra to that, kind of the bit that maybe Staffordshire University and you are different, but it should be, is our content is globally focused, but it's really important also that your staff and the fact that are localizing some of the things so that whatever you need to know specific to Sri Lanka and the regions you're likely to go to, it's known in the materials you are. So your examples can be quite often local focused and see things in there. So that's the kind of extra on top of the things being the same. It's important that we provide our students with local content, and again, you provide them with that local content of what's there. So really that's it's a very quick whistle stop. I'm open to any questions or anything that's there. If anybody has any bits of information, I will stop sharing my presentation. If anybody has any questions or anything now, or if they're saving until later, I can hang around for this hour.
Thank you very much, Fiona. That is indeed very supportive, and I'm sure it's quite informative, even though it was a few minutes. And I just want to let you know that the questions do keep on coming in the chat. So I will probably pass it on to you and as and when they come, so we can keep on answering while the sessions are proceeding, if that is all right with you.
That's absolutely fine.
Wonderful. So with that, let me now invite Dr. Rohan Tatukorale, who is the head of the postgraduate programs and available to support you with all sorts of concerns being in Sri Lanka. And of course, he is the person behind bringing this exposure of networking to all the students who are in our master's programs, regardless of the field of study that they are in with. So I would now let Dr. Rohantha talk to you about what's in there for you in the MSc program at APIT. Dr. Rohantha, over to you.
Thank you very much, Kaushali, and it's been actual honor to have such eminent guest on today's program. We have a chief guest who is Jehan Perinpanayagam, one of the top corporate directors, and then we also have from UK our keynote speaker Fiona Knight, who happens to be the senior lecturer of School of Digital Technologies and Arts, Staffordshire University in UK. And of course, we had our chairman, Bandhu Legodage, a few moments ago. So it's amazing to have so many eminent people coming in and speaking to the youngsters who are in different platforms as we are engaging. I just have actually three things that I want to share with you, which is why is it that we have to do a master's program? See, the first thing is that we must understand that in today's world, uh, there are four waves of learning that we go through. The first wave of learning happens to be when we have our primary, secondary education, where we have our formative years. And the second wave is when we do our degree. And once we do our degree and we move out around 23, 24 years of age, we start working and we become very, very stable by the time we hit 28, 29. And at that time, you need the third wave coming in, which happens to be your master's education. And if you do your master's education right, you can continue in the private sector for about 20, 25 years with the speed that you get. And then subsequently, if you want to continue working, you must do another shape up, which happens to be where you do a doctoral education so that you can continue for another 15 years in your working life. So we call this the cycles of education, the cycles of training, which you require to work in the private sector. So that's part A of the key thought I want to share with you. The second key thought happens to be that everybody who comes and teaches are people who are hands-on. And in today's world, people don't want full-time academics to come and teach masters because they want to know what are the realities in the marketplace, like what Chairman Bandula was talking about, and seeing as to how the new technologies engage you, what are the relevance of these technologies in relation to the culture that you operate, and then of course to see how applicable technology is in your particular domain that you operate in. So for that reason, all the faculty members who come in, they may be doctors, but they are hands-on business experience people that come in. Now, the third point I like to share with you is that we encourage you after you do the coursework that you do the dissertation properly, very focusedly, not just in terms of getting through your master's, because in the master's programs, there's nothing called passing and failing. It's all about trying to get your third wave of training that is required to sharpen your brain. And that sharpening of the brain happens with your coursework, and then the finite polishing happens when you do your final dissertation. And what is a dissertation? A dissertation is where you have a problem in the industry backed by data, and that data you would use to come out with your own hypothesis, and that hypothesis is tested using some Conti or Colli research. Now, this is the essence of your learning that you need to have. And the reason why we advocate you to do the dissertation option and together with a very senior supervisor is because we want you all to have that academic rigor of solving problems, which only comes if you were to do a good dissertation. So please select a dissertation of a problem in your own company so that it's a real life problem that needs to be sorted out, and that helps you in terms of getting that kinds of necessary problem-solving skills that will ultimately help you the next 15 to 20 years of working in your corporate life. So these are the three key points that I want to share with you. Number one happens to be this whole thing called the different waves of training that you need to go through. And the second point that I mentioned is that, there's nothing called passing and failing, but it's about the process that you follow. And that's what we focus on. And the third one is do your dissertation on a live project so that then you become relevant in your organization also. So thank you very much, Fiona, for all the support you extend. Currently we have, I think, MSc in business computing, we have MSc in information technology, we have MSc in cybersecurity, and very soon we'll be launching the MSc in software engineering. We have a MSc coming out in business analytics. And then, of course, in the master's side, we have, or currently have a master's in business administration, but separately, we have a master's in business psychology. And of course, subsequently, a doctoral degree that comes also from Staffordshire University. So there are so many new products which are going to come into play. Currently, focus on your degree, enjoy this experience, and it's wonderful to have such eminent people in today's program. Thank you very much, Kaushali.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Indeed, that will be very useful for the students, I'm sure. Students, I'm inviting you, all of you, please do connect with Dr. Rohantha as we go on in our journey of education. He will be your point of contact for any academic, if not even any other concern that you would want to talk to him about. And with that, I would like to welcome and I would like to invite Dr. Rohantha again to introduce our speaker, our chief guest for the day, and to continue the conversation that we are scheduled to go ahead with. Dr. Rohantha, back to you.
He's a fellow member of ACCA, CIMA and CMA Sri Lanka, an MBA from the University of West London. He accounts for almost 26 years of corporate experience and serves as a CEO, Infomate Pvt Limited, and as Senior Vice President, Keells Holdings PLC. He plays multiple roles in the industry and presently serves as the Chairman SLASSCOM, and President Sri Lanka Nordic Business Council. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of Infomate Pvt Limited, Senior Vice President, Keells Holdings PLC, Chairman SLASSCOM, President Sri Lanka Nordic Business Council, our chief guest, Jehan Perinpanayagam. Over to you, Jehan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Athukorla, and thank you all for having me. I hope I'm audible and the voice is coming through all right.
Very clear.
Thank you. Chairman Apit, Dr. Athukorla, Fiona, lecturers, respected members of academia, students. Today is an important day in your journey of learning, of academics, and of progression in your careers and life. And I would like to stress on this topic of pride. I feel a great sense of pride today to be invited by my former lecturer, Dr. Athukorla, who taught me many, many years ago when I was starting off my journey of learning in CIMA. And I'm sure at this moment that you feel a sense of pride as you embark on one of the top master's programs from the UK and another important milestone in your journey. Each of you can take great pride in achieving your initial degrees and embarking on your masters. Companies in the IT BPM sector, today SLASSCOM encompasses nearly 400 companies, have a lot of respect for the Apit graduates. You have encountered unprecedented challenges to be able to come to this place. These include combating a pandemic, the worst economic crisis to grip our nation. You've had challenges in getting to classes, challenges in preparing with long power cuts, economic challenges, external pressures, facing fears for your future. You faced them all and you've overcome. And today here you stand as potential master's grads, ready for the next step. My utmost respect and admiration to all of you. The determination, the vision that you have showed in embarking on this program is commendable. You are to be applauded. And as difficult as these challenges are that life has thrown at all of you, there is an advantage. Today, you will be more confident that you can overcome any challenge that life throws at you and overcome. Sri Lankans are a resilient people. And if those in more developed countries had to face some of the challenges that you had faced, a lot of them would not know how to face it, how to overcome. But the resilience that is ingrained in our DNA certainly has helped us overcome. And you've not been overwhelmed by it. The courage, the brilliance of our people is well demonstrated in all of you. We can also learn from our neighboring country, from India, a country where a lot of the conveniences many of us take for granted are not available. These include intermittent power cuts, extreme poverty, unreliable public transport, long distances. But the young people of India have braved this today, and today they are producing world beaters in every sphere, from science, sports, aerospace, technology, IT, BPO, politics, business leaders. So remember that challenges and adversity could be a blessing. At a young age, you have learned to overcome adversity, and that is good preparation for life. Life is not easy. You will face reversals. You will face challenges, disappointments. It is not a straight upward line. It's a series of ups and downs, and learning from those, taking knocks. And those who do the best are not necessarily sometimes the most intelligent or the most brilliant, but those who persevere, those who don't give up, who stay in the fight a little longer, those who can overcome adversity, those who can overcome challenges. So today, as you embark on this journey of a master's program, all of you can feel very proud of your achievements to date, and also taking the next journey in your academic career. The next is pride in your industry. You are now a part of the IT BPM industry. As at March 2023, the EDB statistics showed that IT BPM industry was the third largest export revenue earner for Sri Lanka. In 2022, the industry accounted for nearly $2 billion in exports, created 144,000 jobs, and fueled 600 startups. The industry accounts for 8% of Sri Lanka's exports. It is also an inclusive industry employing young men and women across Sri Lanka, not just in the Western province. 35% of the workforce are women. We had our first female chair 2 years ago. The industry provides employment for people with disabilities. It's an industry that provides valuable foreign exchange for Sri Lanka. And unlike other industries, the dollars earned remain in Sri Lanka, and there is no or very little outflow. This is an industry that has brought some of the biggest brand names in the world to Sri Lanka, including HSBC, WNS, Innodata, IFS, London Stock Exchange, Virtusa, Accenture, HCL, EY GDS, and many, many more. Our industry is a force for good. We call it tech for good. A great example is a QR code, which was developed in 2 weeks and literally saved lives. Got the country moving again. We have the Sahana disaster relief management system. There is Govimitru, which helps farmers access up-to-date information on optimum fertilizer and water quantities. There's tech developed to provide counseling on mental health and legal advice, tech for good. So SLASSCOM, which stands for Sri Lanka Association of Software and Services Companies, is the industry association for IT and BPM companies. And these include giants, which employ 3,000 people, to startups. And in our member connects, we try and meet with every one of our 400 members at least once a year. we speak to them to understand their work and their challenges, we are constantly amazed. When speaking to them, one of them casually says, I do this for Google or I do this for Apple. And we never realize that such outstanding work is being done right here in Sri Lanka. In discussion with one of our member companies, they said they have supported British Telecom for many, many years. Technology that is used to fight forest fires in Australia is built here. Technology that powers some of the biggest airline brands is built here in Sri Lanka. So the goals of the industry are to be a $5 billion in exports, 200,000 workforce, and to inspire 1,000 startups by 2030. We also have the aspiration to be the world's first green IT BPM destination in the world. So SLASSCOM has 10 forums working on talent, working on global trade and investment, HR, on policy, women technopreneurs, regional entrepreneurship and innovation. And I do hope that some of you will volunteer with us and be part of the SLASSCOM community and help make a difference and help us achieve these ambitious goals. We have a wonderful brand for Sri Lanka's IT BPM industry called IOI. All of you must know it, Island of Ingenuity. Just as we have Ceylon tea, and for tourism, we have So Sri Lanka. For IT BPM, it is IOI, the Island of Ingenuity. We need to do a much better job in promoting this and bringing this to the attention of the world. One of the challenges that we have is perception of Sri Lanka is often negative, fueled by medias. A lot of people still think that people are in queues, there are shortages of fuel, whereas the reality is that Sri Lanka has been absolutely resilient. We have not dropped a beat when it came to delivering on our client commitments. All of our clients, and I've met the IFS board recently, met some investors from Norway. They're hugely impressed once they come down and see the work that's being done. So we need to do a much better job in sharing the good news with the world. I'll be in London in November, and I've just spoken to the incoming High Commissioner. They're hoping to have a big promotion, including media attending, and we will have testimonials from HSBC, WNS, Equity, IFS, and several others sharing their experience with Sri Lanka, which has been extremely and overwhelmingly positive. One of the other challenges that we have is we are losing some of our brightest young people to migration, and that has impacted particularly our middle management. So as SLASSCOM, we want to remain positive. We want to keep working to uplift the industry and ensuring our goals are achieved. So some of the priorities that I have set out during my chairmanship include renewed promotion of the IOI brand globally, of developing new talent pools across Sri Lanka, to encouraging tech for good initiatives, including adoption in the government, and of promoting ESG practices. We want Sri Lanka to be known as a responsible provider which champions environment, champions employee well-being, and champions governance. So I would encourage all of you to take pride in our industry, to join SLASSCOM initiatives, volunteer your time in any of these forums, help uplift this industry to be a key contributor to the national economy. The third aspect that I would like to talk is pride in your country. As a country faces one of its most challenging times, the buzzword amongst many youngsters today is migration to greener pastures. And today when people gather, often the topic of conversation focuses on the negative. How challenging things are, the cost of living, our leaders, corruption. Yes, these are concerns and these are facts. But here's another series of facts, that no country in the world is perfect. A lot of countries today in the developed world are staring down at recession. And unlike us, they have to pay for heating. And several, for instance, in Europe have to choose between heating and eating. They can't afford both. The job securities that we enjoy in Sri Lanka are often not available. If you miss work owing to ill health, you will not have a job. You can't then afford to pay your rent or mortgage. If you are unfortunate enough to fall ill, healthcare bills could bankrupt you. We in Sri Lanka still have free healthcare. We don't pay for heating. No Sri Lankan starves. We have a helpful society. I was speaking to an American tech entrepreneur who's lived around the world and has chosen to live in Sri Lanka. And he asked me this question: why are you guys so negative? Yes, you have problems, but these happen in any country. You'll often see around the world poverty, empty shelves, crime, gun violence, inept leaders. It's not unique to us. So as Sri Lankans, we still have immense potential to be a wealthy nation. Think for a moment, right? What we have the best tea in the world. We have the best spices. 95% of the world's cinnamon comes from Sri Lanka. The best gemstones. Some of the best beaches. One of the highest biodiversity per square foot anywhere in the world. An abundance of water. The International Water Management Institute is based here in Sri Lanka. We have the capacity to be a renewable energy powerhouse with solar, wind, and wave energy. We have deposits of minerals like ilmenite used in the production of titanium. We have medicinal plants in our land, in our seabeds we have not even explored. And above all, we have the talent and the ingenuity of our people. We are a land richly blessed. We have a culture of 1,000+ years. This is a land which nurtured our parents and their parents before them, and gave us all an education, healthcare, and a future. So we must take pride in our country. And our country at this moment needs its best young minds, young people like you, who will stay and make a difference, who will contribute to rebuilding a sustainable new Sri Lanka. Fourth is pride in continuous learning. Today you have achieved the important milestone of embarking on a master's program. Very soon, you will carry the letters MSc behind your name, but your journey of learning continues. There are fast-paced changes, and the demands for the industry, for new technologies, for new skills is more challenging than ever before. So continuous learning is a must. If you are not spending 5 hours a week on reading, you are not being responsible with your career. Right? Some of the hot skills, industry hot skills at present include cloud, AWS development environment, Azure, GCP, Java, Hibernate and microservices, QA automation, Python and machine learning, data science, project managers, DevOps, prompt engineering for large language models, Linux, Hadoop, Spark streaming. The industry also strongly believes that there is a gap in soft skills. Often the technical skills are great, world-class, but when it comes to soft skills, our companies say there is something lacking. These include confidence, the confidence to stand up and articulate our views, English language skills, right, compared to centers in India and Philippines. The design and conceptualizing skills are also something that my colleagues in the industry have identified as a shortfall. So a few suggestions from me: explore SLASSCOM's Future Career Bridge program and the challenges. Explore the soft skills program on SLASSCOM Academy, which includes now IBM Skills Build. So there are many opportunities in middle management, ways you can fast track your career if you develop the right soft skills. One aspect that has really helped me is joining Toastmasters. And I would say the single most important skill you will need in the corporate is presentation skills and communication skills. When I joined Toastmasters rather late in life, it was transformational for me. I'd always struggled with public speaking. I avoided situations in meetings, and I still find it quite uncomfortable. But that gave me certain tools, certain routines that helped overcome some of the stage fright. And I would really recommend, this is a worthwhile investment. It will help your life, it will help your career. The last one is pride in building a legacy. As one gets old, I turn 50 next year. You start to take stock of life and its meaning and ask questions like, what is my purpose? What am I here for? What have I achieved? What will I leave behind? I believe we are not here by accident, and there is a purpose in life. A successful life is not one in which we make the most money or achieve the highest positions and accolades. A successful life is one where we achieve our purpose. Each of us has, I believe, a unique purpose, and we must strive to find what that is and to achieve our full potential. Unfortunately, many of us go through life going through the motions, becoming a statistic like everyone else, and end up achieving only a small fraction of our full potential and our capability. Someone visited a graveyard and realized that here is a place of unfulfilled potential and dreams. You are young, most of you have your entire life ahead of you. You have youth, energy, potential, brains, opportunity, everything you need to succeed. And I would like to leave this quote with you: to whom much is given, much is expected. To whom much is given, much is expected. So I would encourage you to be a professional with a purpose. Someone who will stand for integrity, someone who will make a difference. And ultimately, when your life summary is written, what will be remembered is the impact our lives made. The lives impacted, the people you developed, the communities you uplifted, the research and innovations you pioneered, the people you inspired, the country you built. This will be the legacy that you leave. So go on with your MBA program, qualify, prosper, build your careers, leave a legacy, make a difference, build our industry, and build our country. All the very best to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jehan, and what an amazing oration, I would call it. I mean, I took a few notes down, and whole heap of questions are coming from different parts. So I'm going to just pick up a few of them. The first question is that you talked about pride of island of ingenuity, and the question has been asked is that how do we drive this brand globally, Jehan?
Absolutely. So we've had, this was developed with a lot of input from SLASSCOM with EDB. Unfortunately, the promotional budgets that were required never came through. As a result, the planned marketing activities were very limited, what was actually implemented. So from a SLASSCOM angle, we are doing what we can with the budgets available. We are looking at a social media promotion. Now we are working with a range of partners to get the word out. So we are looking at outward missions. We recently had one to GITEX, before that to Dubai. I will be doing a session in London. We are working on educating all the people in the foreign missions. And we've had some great people, for instance, the High Commissioner to Philippines. She was very, very interested in our industry. Shobini Gunasekara, Her Excellency. She is now returned to Sri Lanka and taken on a new role. And her intervention, because we were able to give her the right input, and with her passion and connections, she was able to bring important FDIs into Sri Lanka, where companies actually came and set up in Sri Lanka. There's a company called Emapta, very large in Philippines. There are 3,000 people there. They wanted to have 300 people in Sri Lanka. They've come and set up here. We're doing a series of online promotions, webinars. We're working with influencers, and we've met some great people of other nationalities. Indian, for instance, there's the Indian CEOs Forum. They are sometimes more passionate about Sri Lanka than we are. Another gentleman called Leif Olsen, who is Swedish, absolutely loves Sri Lanka. I've been here many, many times. He brings people. So we are working with them. They're key influencers, people who take the brand out. the timing is right? A lot of tourists are coming in. There seems to be renewed interest in Sri Lanka. We need to strike now. We've shared our plans with the president. He's been very supportive as well. We have some great people in BOI, EDB. So we are doing the best. Of course, budgets are constrained, but all of us are ambassadors, right? And one thing I would request all of you to do on your LinkedIn profiles, on your social media, share good news about Sri Lanka. Right? If you look, follow my LinkedIn, right? All of us has a role to play in promoting the country. And unfortunately, sometimes we have this sense of humor, rather bad sense of humor, where we have jokes and things, memes about country, about something going wrong. That happens in every part of the world. So share the good news.
Jehan, what you said is so true when it comes to the pride of products we have. Ceylon tea that goes to almost 63 countries around the world. Ceylon cinnamon, which is the only brand that has GI recognition, and it differentiates totally from cassia. Now of course, we have Ceylon sapphires, which actually Lady Diana's ring came from one of the Ceylon sapphires bought in Sri Lanka. And of course, now we have the apparel industry, which is pegging through. One issue that is there is that a lot of IT and the BPO companies have kind of frozen the intakes. The question is that whilst that is happening, you have all the business schools, having a fantastic run even this year, last month, Jehan, where you had about 400, 500 people joining top business schools to study IT. So how do you see this panning out?
I think this is a great point. In fact, something that I discussed with my SLASSCOM colleagues today as well. I think it's a temporary downturn. There's been a recession in some of the Western countries, traditional markets. They've laid off a lot of people in the industry. And you have these trends, which are very much cyclical. I don't expect that to be a medium-term trend. It will correct and we'll start seeing an uptake fairly soon. The other aspect is our numbers are very small. If you look at India, for instance, they have over 5 million people employed in this industry. We have 144,000. If you look at Philippines, probably about 2 million people employed in the IT BPM industry. By learning IT skills today, you are not going to lose. You are increasing your value. And it's not just the IT BPM companies that are hiring, it's also the banks, the corporates. They all need IT people. Today, it's the single biggest aspect that's going to really revolutionize business, and technology is going to be central to everything that we do. So those skills are not going to go waste. And I also think that talent or work comes where the talent is. I was talking to HCL, right? I was talking to HCL and they said, if you develop 3,000 cloud engineers, you can always go to Amazon and say, we have so many people here. So it's a chicken and egg situation, right? So I think we need to continue. There is a temporary reduction in hiring, but we need to continue producing graduates because companies will come where the talent is. The other aspect is that if whatever course you are pursuing in life, right, these skills are central to it and it will not go waste.
Yeah, very interesting question.
One more aspect. Sorry, just one more aspect, right? Now, the president is working on something he calls 100 IT BPM companies. That's like the 200 apparel companies that was done during the President Premadasa's time. And they're actively promoting. So in November to January, there is a Digicon conference where they're inviting leading people around the world, come to Sri Lanka, look at our talent, see for yourselves. President is personally signing some of those invitations and it's going to some of the biggest people in the industry, right? Now, if one of those players come, and we are working with the Indian CEOs Forum, come and set up companies here, right, explore. Now, if one of those companies come and hire 5,000, Rohanta, very quickly, we will get back into the situation where we are scrambling for talent, because our numbers are, the numbers we are producing are in hundreds, right? So I think this equation could turn very quickly. And I think having a few people on the bench, so to speak, is a good thing. Hopefully, we can attract some big companies to come and absorb them.
Jan, very interesting question coming up. The question is that if you look at your career, it says that you have seen up how you have moved up the ladder, and today you are in the pinnacle of the IT industry, giving leadership to many companies. And the question is there any key secrets that you would like to share on your journey of life?
So it was not a smooth journey, because now I was a science student. I wanted, my dearest goal was to do a university degree in the UK. And Staffordshire University is one of the, I remember as a young person applying to, I was very, very keen, and that didn't work out purely because of finances. It was very, very expensive. My father was a government servant. So I had to give up that dream. And then I never thought of doing accountancy, right? So I never thought of doing CIMA. I had no idea of that. I registered purely because I didn't have too many options. I couldn't enter Sri Lankan University. I had done my London A-levels. I started that, and then I found I liked it. My dad happened to meet Ken Balendra. I ended up at a wedding, and I ended up in John Keells one day, where I'm very thankful for. Then I got a chance to work on the SAP project, and as a result, had a chance of getting into a BPO. So I'm not an IT guy, right? I'm an accountant. And coincidentally, I'm now leading the IT BPM industry. Sometimes you feel that you're most unsuitable, these are things that I never wanted. In fact, and Channa Manoran, past chair, first asked me to join SLASSCOM as an office bearer. I turned it down, did my best to get out of it. But then I felt that there is something that you can contribute. So some of the lessons I think that I would, this thing is teamwork. Teamwork was very important. I try and maintain a very good rapport with everyone I work with. If you have disagreements, try to handle it in a way that maintains everyone's self-respect. Excellent rapport with all my bosses. I learned from all of them. I may not have agreed with everything, but I maintain respectful, and I learned from every one of them. Then the other aspect is listening, right? Generally, sometimes we all have preconceived ideas. I'm trying to do much better at listening, really listening. And we don't know it all. You make mistakes. So it really helps to listen to everyone. No substitute for hard work and commitment and values. Right? Absolute importance of, being personal integrity and values, because that's your personal brand. I think sometimes I think there's a hidden hand behind my life. A lot of things I didn't plan for, and it worked out in quite miraculous ways, which I am thankful for. But you need to do the best that you can with what is given to you. You may not have everything, right? I didn't have the finances to go and study, right? Life may not give you the best hand that you would have liked, but with what is given to your hand, we must do the best that we can with that.
Amazing, Jehan. Amazing. So the next question which is coming out is, where do you go from here, Jehan? I mean, you're right now, when we listen to you, we could see the kind of vision that you have. We could see the kind of clarity of thinking that you have, and your power of developing a visionary community because of your ability of working so strongly in teams. The question is, where do you go from here, given the current challenges that you're having in the environment?
Sure. So one aspect on Infomate, which is my day job, which is a BPO subsidiary of John Keells. It's among the top 6 BPO exporters in the country. I would like to see that achieving its full potential, become one of the top global BPO providers. We've grown from 60 people to 500 people, but I think we're just scratching the surface. I think there's a lot more that we could do. So I would like to see that trebling in size in over the next 3 years. The next one is to be able to make an impact for the industry. There's a great group of people. Sometimes I'm absolutely overwhelmed to see the commitment of my colleagues in SLASSCOM. These are all volunteers, and they put so much of their time. Now, our past chair, Ashik, I mean, they are people who are absolutely selfless. They don't look at their own companies. They spend so much, almost the whole working day on industry activities, just giving. Sometimes no one knows about it. And a lot of the colleagues there, they give so much of their time to the industry, to developing talent, of working with universities, giving feedback, mentoring startups. So that has really inspired me, right? And that there is an opportunity to give back. And to make a difference for the industry. And finally, for the country and for society, I'm not sure in what capacity, but I would like to make some sort of a contribution. And sometimes when you're given position, as they said in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, right? And each of us with education, and we have more opportunities than others. So some of the things are, let me just share with you on how we can make, how I've in a small way made a difference. We pioneered the country's first rural BPO. Today, 50% of the John Keells accounting on SAP happens in 3 villages, right? In Mahavilachia in the North Central Province, in Sinigama, tsunami affected village, and in Jaffna. So Cinnamon Grand, Keells Super, Ceylon Cold Stores, if you look at their invoicing, supplier reconciliations, bank reconciliations, happens in 50% of that happens in these 3 centers. 90% of them are women. We work with a children's charity called Child Action Lanka to give them life and career skills. We had some of those kids coming, lovely kids. We take them to office. We tell them, you can be having a career here, work on English, work on IT. We give them practical experience in our training. We've taken them through our flow, introduced them to our staff. We've hired 3 of them now. Those over 18, we've hired 3 of them into our garden. Right? So if you can make a difference in someone's life, right? Those are just 2 examples that I shared. That makes it worthwhile. So I don't know in what shape or form, but I would like to make a contribution to the country, particularly at this difficult and challenging time. All of us have something to contribute, something to give.
Jehan, our youngsters always tend to, the generation Y and generation Z are, they think differently. The question is, if you have to advise the president on what Sri Lanka needs to do, what are the top 3 that advices you would give?
Sometimes the view that we would have from outside is quite a simplistic one. Sometimes I may not fully appreciate. I think you may know the inner workings, and there are a lot more complexity that I may not appreciate studying from outside. But what I would say is get the right team, get the right people into the right positions. Right? Because this moment of crisis, we cannot afford, and public will support that. Right. So take some of the hard calls, have the right people. For instance, we are seeing the new health minister doing a complete revamp in terms of some of the key appointments. That is one example. I think things like that are needed to make sure you have the right people in the right, who will have the service mindset, servant leaders. At this moment, we cannot afford to have the luxury of playing politics, right? The next thing is we need to expedite, because that we have a window of opportunity where we are going through this crisis. Public is very supportive to make some of the hard calls now. Those include the privatization of state-owned enterprises. Things like switching to renewable energy is a no-brainer. There is no excuse for having 360 days of sunshine and not having even 1% of renewable energy. Right, so it's being blocked by various bodies. Those hard calls need to be taken. Either you deliver now, or I would actually take a very hard call saying that this is a treasonous act. You're acting not in the interest of the country. You're working against the interests of the people in the country. At this moment, we can't afford it. So we need to be very, very strong in terms of, we can't allow at this moment unions or people to come and say, to block the progress of the country. People have lost their lives, I think, because of this. So privatization is key, having the right people in place. The third would be in terms of country branding. Right. I think in terms of country promotions, we need to do a lot more, invite people here. A secret weapon is if you bring someone to Sri Lanka, they are much more likely to do business here because they find that their reality is completely different from the perception that they had. So people really fall in love with the country once they come physically here.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the Senior Vice President, John Keells Holdings PLC, Chairman of SLASSCOM, and President Sri Lanka Nordic Business Council, Jehan Perinpanayagam. I mean, it's fantastic listening to you and, the kind of maturity, the kind of wisdom that you shared. It's fantastic, Jehan. And so proud of where you are. And please, we would really love to have you one day come and have a chat with the youngsters because the people who are worst affected in the crisis is people who are between the ages of 25 and 35 who are just going to buy their house, maybe just got married, and the guys are kind of struggling with the interest rates and cost of living. So we see this across the country in this particular age group. So you coming over today, having a chat with them is absolute morale booster. And I mean, the kind of positive comments that I'm getting, I will share you maybe post. Kaushali, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. You taught me well.
Proud of you, brother.
Thank you very much.
An absolutely wonderful session. And I'm so thankful that we got this opportunity to have the young minds motivated on their first day of their MSc journey. And what more other than hearing it from the chairman of SLASSCOM when they're starting their journey to expand their knowledge in the horizons in the fields of IT. So ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the student orientations of the MSc programs in IT fields. And thank you so much. I'd like to especially thank Mr. Jehan, who is with us today, spending this valuable time inspiring our students, and our own friend Fiona, all the way from Staffordshire University, joining us to give that clarity to the students, most wanted information with regard to the modules and any other concerns regarding the Staffordshire University. And of course, Dr. Rohantha and Mr. Bandule Egodage, our chairman. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming on board to inspire the students who are starting their new journey today. And with that, we end our student orientation. I would also like to humbly thank all our existing students and other viewers who have joined us online in this webinar. So while thanking everyone, we will be ending this webinar for now. I would like to also invite all our new students. Shortly at 7:30, we are starting back our academic orientation, where you will be oriented towards the modules and the internal systems in place for you to start your studies. So please do join us at 7:30 p.m. using the MS Teams platform links, which have been emailed to you along with your schedules. So we'll see you back at 7:30, new students in the platform, and others, everyone, please have a good night and maybe a good day wherever you're joining us from. And thank you very much, and good night for now from Sri Lanka.